All right, today we are diving into a book that is so much more than a story. It's an experience. We're talking about Toni Morrison's incredible, haunting masterpiece, Beloved. And believe me, this isn't just a novel, it's a full-on confrontation with a history that simply refuses to stay buried. I want to start with this question, because it gets right to the very heart of this book's unsettling power. I mean, think about it. What if a memory was so traumatic, so heavy, that it couldn't stay in the past? What if it took on a life of its own, walking, talking, and demanding to be heard? So, our story takes place at 124 Bluestone Road in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's the home of a woman named Sethe who escaped slavery and made it to freedom. But her home, well, it's no sanctuary. It's possessed by a spiteful, angry spirit, the ghost of her own unnamed baby daughter. And look, this haunting isn't just some spooky background noise. Oh no, it is an active, powerful force. It's already driven away Sethe's two sons, totally isolating her and her other daughter, Denver, from the rest of the community. They are completely alone, trapped by the past inside those four walls. Now, while Beloved definitely reads like a ghost story, you have to know it's rooted in a devastating piece of American history. Toni Morrison was inspired by the true story of Margaret Garner, an enslaved woman who made an absolutely tragic choice to save her children from being forced back into slavery. Knowing that historical anchor, it just gives the novel this profound, almost unbearable weight. The whole dynamic at 124 Bluestone Road is just stuck. It's frozen by grief and fear. But then, two arrivals change absolutely everything, and the haunting evolves from just a spirit into something much, much more real. First, a man named Paul D. shows up. He's from Sethe's past, from the plantation they called Sweet Home. His presence is so strong, it actually seems to drive the spirit right out of the house. For a moment, there's peace. But it doesn't last. Soon after, a mysterious young woman literally emerges from the river, soaking wet with no memory of anything. And she has only one word for her name, Beloved. And this is the central mystery that just pulls you through the entire story. Who is this girl? Is she just a lost wanderer? Or is she something else entirely? Could she possibly be the physical embodiment of that baby ghost, returned to confront the very mother who took her life? Beloved's arrival. It's like a key, unlocking a door in Sethe's mind that has been sealed shut for 18 long years. Her presence starts to unravel the truth behind the haunting, and it leads us directly to the novel's devastating emotional core. With Beloved now living in the house, the past is no longer a memory. It's a living, breathing person sitting right there at the dinner table. Sethe can't run anymore. She is forced to confront the single most traumatic event of her life, the reason her baby daughter is dead. So here's the truth. Years earlier, right after escaping to freedom, Sethe was tracked down by her former owner. Faced with the horror of her children being dragged back into slavery, she made an unthinkable choice. She tried to kill them all, succeeding only with her baby daughter. The novel dares us to see this not as a simple, monstrous act, but as a twisted, desperate act of love from a mother trying to spare her child a fate she knew was worse than death itself. Sethe's story is so deeply personal, but Morrison uses it to explore something much, much larger. We're talking about the psychological wounds slavery inflicted on an entire people, scars that don't just fade with time. To explain this, Morrison gives us this brilliant concept she calls rememory. It's the idea that a memory isn't just something inside your head. No, it's a real, lingering presence in the physical world. A traumatic event can just be waiting there for you in a place, ready for you to experience it all over again. The past isn't past. And this idea just perfectly illustrates the central tragedy for these characters. You know, escaping the plantation gave them physical freedom, but it did not free their minds. They are all haunted by the remembering of what they endured, trying to build a future while the past is literally sitting on their doorstep. Each character really embodies a different part of this struggle. You have Sethe, who is trapped by a mother's love that's both fiercely protective and incredibly destructive. Then there's Beloved, who is the past made flesh, just demanding to be heard. Denver represents the future, struggling to break this cycle of isolation. And Paul D., he's the survivor, just trying to put the pieces of his own humanity back together. Ultimately, Beloved becomes so much more than just Sethe's daughter. Morrison does this thing with the writing. It becomes fragmented, multi-voiced, and Beloved's consciousness seems to merge with the memories of the countless souls lost during the Middle Passage. She becomes a symbol for all of their collective trauma, all the forgotten stories, all the unspoken pain. She isn't just one ghost, she is the ghost of a nation's history. So why is this novel considered one of the greatest works of the 20th century? What is it that makes it so enduringly powerful? Well, the novel's power is just undeniable. It flows from its incredibly poetic language and deep psychological insight. But let's be honest, it is a challenging read, and that's by design. The story doesn't move in a straight line. It fractures and jumps through time, forcing you, the reader, to experience the disorienting nature of trauma and memory firsthand. But despite those challenges, its importance was recognized almost immediately. In 1988, it won the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction, which cemented its place in the literary canon, not as a story of comfort, but as one of profound truth. And that's really the heart of it. Beloved is not a book that offers comfort. It isn't meant to be easy. Its purpose is to offer a difficult, painful, and absolutely necessary truth about history, memory, and the enduring legacy of slavery. And that brings us to the final, lingering question the novel leaves us with. See, it's a story about a family haunted by its past, but it's also a story about a country haunted by its own. The novel suggests that healing can't happen in isolation. It requires the entire community to finally come together and confront the past. By forcing us to look at what's been suppressed, Morrison asks all of us, what does it truly take to confront and maybe even heal from the ghosts of history?